Hello everyone and welcome back to my garden. I've just returned from South Africa and after 4 months of neglect the garden looks like an overgrown wilderness. In this video I will give you a full tour and I will be making a start tidying up the garden. Hello and welcome back to my garden. It has been such a long time, almost 4 months, and that is because I've been working as a wildlife photographer in South Africa. And although I had an amazing time, I must admit, I did miss the peak season here of the dahlias in flower. So yeah, I wish I could have seen what it looked like. But at the moment it looks like a big mess and the garden completely exploded and is overgrown, so I have a lot of jobs to do. So yeah, do please follow me. I will give you a tour around the garden, what it looks like at the moment, and then I'll yeah, start doing some jobs. My hands are itching. I really need to get started here. And oh, luckily it's a lovely day. The sun is shining and yeah, it's not too cold, so yeah, I need to hurry up and make the most out of this day and get to work. So when I left early June, the dahlias were only this tall, and look how they've grown. I really like this one. Look at this, it's huge. This is called Breakout, and this is, yeah, I think this is my favorite dahlia, but I'll definitely need to get staking. And this one as well over here, this is Garden Jubilee. So yeah, it does have a stake, but I need to, yeah, tidy it a bit. And yeah, here is another beautiful Breakout. Yeah, they all need some staking. It is October, so they won't last long, and probably I need to get them out anytime soon. Yeah, as soon as the frost hits them. But yeah, I missed out on so much, and there's still some buds. Yeah, maybe they do flower. Depends a bit on the weather. So yeah, I really hope to see those. But yeah, let's get tidying up a bit. I see that these agasters have done really well. So yeah, that's amazing. I absolutely adore these. But yeah, needed staking as well, as you can see. And this is a rose. Well, this is, yeah, no flowers, nothing, just growth. So I'm going to cut that back. There's so many jobs to be done that I don't know where to start, and I feel like running around like a headless chicken. Let's start with giving the dahlias some support, so that I can still enjoy some of their flowers. Hopefully we get a warm enough autumn for the dahlia buds to come into flower. So I think one of the reasons that these dahlias grew so tall is because lack of light. Look at these plane trees, they're enormous. Usually I cut them 2-3 times a year when they're in growth. but now they just grew and grew, so the branches are almost 3.5 meters tall. So, and when the light at the end of the afternoon is over there, they're just in complete shade, which they don't like. So yeah, I really need to cut these back, but it's quite a big job. And then the dahlias would be more happy because now they're just tall and floppy, and it just is what it is. But need to get going. Oh, over here we got the buxdomes again. Yeah, this one really needs to be clipped, and those suffered from the box caterpillars. And I must say, they're more green than when I left them. So yeah, that kind of grew back, but yeah, this one really needs to be clipped. Dahlia flopped, so this one needs to be staked, or I think I'm just going to cut this one back because there's no flower buds, nothing, so that will look ugly. So yeah, I'm just going to cut that back. But this one is still flowering. This is really nice. This one is called Mango Madness. Really beautiful flower. And over here, this garden is very, very messy. Nepeta's finished flowering, so I'm going to cut that all back. Here's a really lovely dahlia. It's a new one. I think this one was called Peachy, and yeah, I really like it. So we're definitely going to grow more of those next year. And there's some buds here still, so yeah, again, tidying up. Lots of work to do, lots of work. This dahlia has fallen onto the gravel. If it would have had flowers, I would have tried to stake it, but now I just cut my loss and cut it back down to the ground. Within a couple of weeks, I will lift all the dahlias and store them somewhere frost-free for winter. Usually I would cut the nepetas when they're finished flowering somewhere in July, and they will regrow and look nice during the summer. Now it is time for their winter haircut. They will go dormant and fresh growth will appear in spring. We've had a very cold and wet spring, and I had to plant these tomatoes out into the vegetable garden at the beginning of June, just before I left, when it was still very cold. Well, what can I say about my vegetable garden? It looks very miserable. So the tomatoes all got blight, probably because it was quite a wet summer as well, and they don't like it, and it wasn't hot enough, so all got blight. Yeah, this is a complete mess, so need to clear everything and clean it properly. And yeah, over there I got some mint. It's completely covered in mildew as well. And over here, yeah, the sage needs to be cut back. And behind the gooseberries, yeah, somehow caterpillars enjoy them, so there are no leaves on there anymore. And yeah, got some strawberries here, that looks still fine. Zinnias also not looking very happy. I think also the cold wet weather, they don't like it. So yeah, I will just deadhead them and leave them for a little while. And most of the rest I will just clean and clear the beds so that it's ready for next year. I can see that there were lots of tomatoes on them, but there wasn't enough sun and warmth for them to ripen. Due to the wet summer, blight hit them, and once they get infected by blight, they're lost. The only thing I can do is to clean this bed properly and dispose of the plants. Winter is the best time to prune your roses, but if they have long growth like this one, it is a good idea to shorten them to prevent them from rocking in the wind. I decided to already prune this one as I would do in winter. Dahlias are one of my favorite summer flowers. They add so much variety and color to the summer border. I would have loved to see them in peak season this year. For now, I'm grateful that there are still some flowers for me to enjoy and that the weather is warm enough for them to stay in the garden a little bit longer. So the roses are looking absolutely awful. They already didn't look very good when I left here in June. The stems are very thin and now they got a lot of black spots. I think they suffered a lot from last autumn and winter and even spring. It was so cold and very, very wet. So I think especially the wet weather, that hit them. So I'm just going to cut these back. And I will give them a lot of manure at the end of winter and spring, and hopefully next year they'll do better. Well, I must say this part of the garden doesn't look too bad. It's the box domes, but once they're clipped, they're looking nice and tidy again, I think. Again, behind me, roses, same problem. But the hydrangea Annabelle seem to have loved the wet weather. So that one looks really, really good. I think much better than previous years. But the hostas, I think the slugs and snails have had a party there. There's not much leaves left there. So these agapanthus are looking really nice, so they survived quite well, happy with that. And even the moss that I used to cover the plastic pots is looking green, which is quite surprising because usually in summer it will be completely brown. So that just shows how wet this summer was. So the box just need to be clipped and then it would look nice. And in between, as a ground cover, I have ivy. That's a bit messy, so that needs to be tidied and cut back, and then it will look nice, and remove some of the weeds that's in between there. But then, that will look good. Well, I must say my potting table doesn't look too bad. The ferns have survived, which was quite a surprise. But that was the adventures of the wet summer that we got. So those survived. So I'm really happy with it. They're looking quite well. But of course there were some violas that didn't survive, and the hebe, also not looking great. So we'll remove that. And the eucomis has done well, but just finished flowering. So I can just let it die back and lift the bulbs. Grasses, those aren't looking really, really nice. Too much shade in here, and probably too wet as well. So the path looks a bit overgrown. There's quite some weeds here. And the lavenders need to be cut back because that's a complete mess. This cosmos still looks fine, so just cut back the finished flowers, and I think that will look good. This one needs a bit of a stake, and it has grown way too tall. It's supposed to be 60 centimeters like this one, But yeah, somehow this one got a little bit taller than the other one. But yeah, I think I'll leave it. Once it gets staked, maybe it looks nice. But yeah, get all the lavender cut back. And yeah, further than that, there's not that much of interest here again. Yeah, and of course I need to clip back all the yew hedges, and then it would look nice and crisp into the winter. If you keep that hanging cosmos, they will continue flowering until the frost hits them. Now is not the time to prune lavender. Usually I do it when they're finished flowering. However, this variety flowers well into autumn, and that makes it difficult. Therefore, I would normally trim them back not too hard in September and prune them properly in spring. This time I took my chances and I pruned them a little bit in between, and hopefully they will survive the winter. Amongst the weeds there's a forget-me-not that I could have transplanted into the garden, but I decided to get rid of it. I love forget-me-nots, but in my garden they often get mildew. The garden looks a little bit better now, but there's still plenty of jobs to be done that I will show you in the next videos, when I will be cutting my box domes and I shall be planting spring bulbs. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you ever so much for watching, and please give it a like and subscribe to my channel. See you next time.